And that's
Yeah.
something that took me a long time to learn was how to get out of this mindset that I need to be validated by others.
Hmm.
And now I'm in a mindset where it's like, you know what? This is good. I like this. I did a good job on this. And if nobody else agrees with me, well, oh well.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the Carganilla Online Variety Entertainment Podcast. Leading off, your host, Paul Carganilla.
Hello and welcome to COVEpod. This is the online variety show in which we aim to both entertain and inspire our podcast listeners and YouTube viewers through a variety of art forms, including poetry, storytelling, music, special guest interviews, travel blogs, dramatic readings, a whole grab bag of entertainment, a jambalaya of conversations, experiences, thoughts, creative reflections for you to get excited about when you see it drop in your podcast feed every other Tuesday. Thank you for listening as you drive, exercise, do chores, however, whenever, any way you're listening to your podcasts. COVEpod is here with the goal to entertain and inspire you. I am so excited for tonight's episode. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been, when we started this last July, so it's been about 15 months, I had the goal of, making this, as I just said, a grab bag, a mixture of hanging out with friends, performing some music, talking about creativity, doing some storytelling, just never knowing, what the next episode would bring. Along the line, of course, our Patreon family, our Patreon community has been getting monthly request-isodes, which are bonus episodes. Every month we get a chance to hang out with our most favorite cast members from our Vodacity network that support Cove Podcast, and we've had such a great time connecting and hanging out, telling stories, catching up on life, and sharing music. But the crazy thing is, along the way, that as we in that community have been experiencing that every month, I realize that on the podcast, we're not getting that every month. We're not getting that every once in a while. And I am so grateful for everyone in the Patreon community. If you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/COVEpodcast. But we're enjoying this. But then people who are outside the community aren't. So as we did last year, when I said, here's an example of what you're missing if you're not tuning into that, or if you haven't been over to our Patreon yet, I thought we got to get everybody together. Well, it hasn't been that long. The season 1 finale of Cove Podcast was a big get together of friends, hanging out, having a great time, celebrating the podcast. But as I was in the group chat tonight with many of our cast members, I think maybe the last time we had a big group together to share music and conversation in this style, there happened to be a hurricane and an earthquake that day. I think it was probably about a year ago. It was Hurricane Day. There was an earthquake here in Southern California the last time this group of people got together on Cove Podcast. And just this morning, there was another earthquake here in Southern California. And I got in the group chat and I said, hey, guess what? Maybe these shows are triggering tectonic movement, tectonic unrest. I don't know. But another thing is I wanted to talk about, obviously, the second I started this podcast, it was like, I want to talk about creativity. I want to talk about inspiration. And I also want to entertain people. And today we're going to have a conversation about positively creating. You could say positively creating, but creating with a positive attitude, from a positive standpoint. And if you are a subscriber to the Vodacity network and you ever jump on when I have random, I call them lullaby paloozas, late night, I decide to jump on and play some music. And lately, the most recent ones, I've been playing with Chat GPT. I have been playing with challenging AI to give me inspirational or creative quotes, inspiration, and then I would riff on that or play some music based on that. So tonight, with this theme, I decided to plug it in to Chat GPT and see what it would give me back. And it gave me back 5 bullet points, all of which I want to talk about with our cast members tonight. But I don't know what cast members are actually gonna join us, because that's been a journey in and of itself. But let me just tell you before I bring in whoever's here, what I plugged into Chat GPT. I asked AI this, or I posited this. I said, I believe having a positive attitude is important in fostering creativity. Is there any evidence to back this up? ChatGPT took about 5 seconds and spilled out 5 bullet points. An intro, 5 bullet points, and an outro ending, conclusion. And they said, yes, there is evidence to support the idea that a positive attitude can foster creativity. Several studies and theories in psychology and cognitive science highlight this connection. We're going to talk about all that with our guests this evening. I'm going to introduce the ones that are here right now. And these are total surprises. If you've seen any flyers or advertisements on Facebook or any socials, ladies and gentlemen, please join me. I'm so thrilled to be joined tonight. I'm so thrilled to welcome and be joined tonight by Amanda and David Benjamin.
Hi.
How unexpected and exciting. So glad to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Yeah, very excited to be here.
I'm just as surprised as you are. I was like, what the heck am I doing? How did I get here? I don't know.
Yeah, he's like, wait, how did I get here? And why is this camera
Why
on?
are the cameras on?
It's like that old, when the Rat Pack was on stage, Dean Martin would have a joke. He'd be swirling his martini. He'd take a sip and he'd look up and say, who are all you and how'd you get in my room?
I mean, to be fair, it's like you all are in my room right now.
It's true.
That's
true.
How did you get in here? Technology.
And is AI in our heads? Skynet. You know what I saw yesterday was a video on CNN of a drone that's dropping molten lava.
What?
In like, or some sort of version of chemical molten lava on base camps in the Ukraine and Russian war right now. Like they have drones that are dropping like literally fire from the sky.
Unbelievable.
And I was at work when I saw this and I took it to our drone guy and I said, is this possible? And he said, yeah, just wait till AI takes control. And
right? That scares me.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Terminator 2.
Yeah, I don't like it. Have you seen the videos though of like the monkey with the Neuralink?
No.
What? That's kind of, it's getting up there, I don't know, like a year or so ago. Like, so he has the Neuralink in his brain, and so they started him off controlling a Pong video game with a controller.
Okay.
And
Except
then and then it was, so they taught him how to do it, and then they disconnected the controller, and he's playing Pong with his mind. He thinks he's using a controller, but he's actually controlling it with his mind. It's weird. So scary.
And didn't that monkey
Planet
like
Apes.
not survive very long?
I don't
I
remember.
feel like they died,
Maybe.
but I don't remember.
It was terrifying.
Yeah.
Well, hello to the Benjamins.
Hello.
Hello to
We're being
everybody.
very positive about it.
Yay,
There are a lot of
progress.
wonderful things about AI incredible possibilities with AI, and a lot
I
of them I'm
really,
very excited about.
yeah, for me, like one of the coolest applications of AI is all the astrophysics stuff that they can do with AI, searching these enormous,
Yeah.
vast data sets that would take decades and decades and decades for real people to hunt through and find stuff, and AI can do it so much faster. They're making all kinds of discoveries because they have AI that's very finely tuned for what they want to do.
Sure.
But they have AI to comb through these data sets. I think they're going to be sending up a telescope in the next few years that's supposed to be taking wide field shots of like almost the entire sky. Broad shot, and they're going to be using, of course, AI to comb through all that data and find stuff.
It's that balance of good and bad.
Exactly.
And I'm going to go through the show tonight, getting each participant's, I don't know who else is going to join us.
We'll find out.
Each participant's 60-second snapshot thoughts on the theme. And then we're going to go to the AI, but the theme of creating with a positive attitude, how important that is. You have 60 seconds, Amanda Benjamin, go.
Ooh, okay. I think it is really important because I was just listening to something about your mindset and how you automatically look for things to confirm what you believe. And so if you believe, I can't do this, I'm not going to make it, I'm not good at this, I can't, right? And then your brain, the second that you can't make this chord, I can't make this rhyme, I can't make it make sense, great. I knew I wasn't good at this, I'm out. Compared to, I can do this, I'm improving, I am little by little taking my steps, I'm expanding my poetry and my vocabulary, and all of a sudden you have this complete shift. And so I think it's incredibly important to have that positive mindset if you want to move forward. Ooh.
She did it all in 45 seconds.
Yes.
I would piggyback on that and say, like the way I've said before, like worrying is visualizing exactly what you don't want to happen. You just gotta flip that mindset.
Exactly.
David Benjamin, 60 seconds and go.
Yeah, well, I agree with what Amanda said. Now, I would maybe build on that and is looking at composers of the past who have turned out some of the most brilliant, incredible work when they very much did not have positivity going on in their lives. I think that positivity, a positive outlook is very important as you're building up your foundation and ability and skills. Once you have that built up, I think that's where if you can go through negative experiences in life and use those and channel that into your art and create some really incredible stuff. Not that I'm advocating negative stuff in your life, of course not.
No.
But I think that there's room for both once you get to a certain point. Now, for me, like I've noticed when I'm really stressed from work and I don't have a positive outlook, I have not touched the piano since July. August was an incredibly busy work month for me. And so I don't tend to play. I don't tend to do a whole lot that's overly creative, involves a lot of time and mental effort, because I need that stress-free, relaxed, more positive space in order to feel motivated to do anything. So yeah, it absolutely has a big impact.
In creative inspiration, for sure. 79 seconds for David, but I appreciate that. No, I like what you said, like about like you have to have a strong foundation to start to create things from a place of negativity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that those works have a lot of value because everybody goes through negative experiences in their life, right?
Sure.
So
yeah,
it gives you a way to tap into somebody else without necessarily having to talk to them, but it gives you a way to tap into somebody else, their experience, think, oh, you know what? Somebody else went through this too. This is how they dealt with it. This is how they channeled it to try and gain a more positive outcome from the experience. But somebody else has shared my experience, knows what I'm going through. And ultimately that can be really a powerful thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before I jump into the first song, I have to tell everybody out there who's listening, I told all the performers tonight, all of them, that they didn't, there's no theme tonight. Just bring what you love, a song that you want to perform, anything your heart is, drawing you to perform tonight, and it doesn't necessarily have to connect with a theme. If it does along the way, that's great. But I mentioned this AI Chat GPT that I plugged the theme into. I've got 5 bullet points. Here's the first one before our first song tonight. Bullet point number 1, it says broaden and build theory. Barbara Frederickson's broaden and build theory of positive emotions suggests that positive emotions broaden our thought action repertoires, and build personal resources. This broader thinking can enhance creative problem solving by allowing individuals to consider more possibilities and approach problems from new angles. Makes sense. That's a lot of big words. And
that's what I was thinking. I was like, wait, process these words. Take a second.
But yeah, basically take your emotions or whatever the emotions are and help them broaden your landscape of thinking as you try and approach it from a positive standpoint. David Benjamin, with your free thought and positive creativity, what did you want to perform for us this evening?
Well, I was looking at a couple things that I had written prior to the show. Not written prior to the show, but I was looking prior to the show at a couple things I had written. There we go, get the words in the right order to convey proper meaning. It ultimately decided, I have not really played the piano much, and I'm kind of rusty on pretty much any piece. And I thought it might be fun, especially once you said you had some bullet points from Chat GPT, to perhaps maybe do an improvisation inspired by whichever bullet point you happened to read before I went on. So,
well, I hope Chat GPT doesn't try to copyright it, ladies and gentlemen, with an original improv based on the theme. David Benjamin. If I had the Zoom update, I'd be able to throw some shoes up. But I don't have that update yet. But ladies and gentlemen,
Here we go.
David
Here we go.
Benjamin.
Shoes.
There's my shoes that I threw are just now floating through the air in your home. Anti-gravity. David Benjamin with his improvisation built on the broaden and build theory.
What's hard to articulate before I embark on one of those is, what I tend to do is kind of try and whatever sort of chord progression starts to come out when I start playing is, I'll try and kind of riff off of that, build on that, which is, with tying into that thing from Chat GPT. So I try and have like a seed at the beginning, something that's relatively simple that I can keep in my mind throughout, and then build on that and do different things with it throughout.
And you do it with such skill. Great
And
job.
panache.
And panache. Skill and panache, yes. Forgive me for leaving that out. And of course, nobody wants to leave out our other special guests this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming Mike and Nicole Pierce.
Hello.
Welcome, Pierces.
Here's some shoes. And since Mike is often wearing ties, that's for Mike.
Are you
Hooray.
in space? What's going on here? They're floating upwards.
Yes.
Gravity shirts.
Also,
yes.
guys, we have Damn Paul.
Damn, Paul.
Damn Paul in the
Remember, it's damp.
Damn.
We're damp. At least we're not moist.
Yeah.
All
man.
right.
That'll be our
Well.
band name. Damp, not moist.
Unfortunately, we advertised the Pierces and Wendy Walker. Unfortunately, Wendy won't be able to join us this evening, but we did have the bonus of the Benjamins this
Hooray.
evening. So much fun and still so much to get to. Mike and Nicole, I got to clue you in. So the theme that we're working with tonight is positively creating. And I kind of explained it to you in the chat. I gave the other cast members here 60 seconds to just spell out what it means to you. And I gave Chat GPT the opportunity to tell us what it means in the grand scheme of things. But we're going through those bullet points from Chat GPT, but we need to catch up on what it means to you. You want to start with, how about Mike Pierce? What is creating with a positive attitude? Just what does that say to you?
Creating with a positive attitude. I feel like I'm always a pretty positive attitude person. But I think if you are coming at something with a positive attitude, that I think whatever energy you put into something is what you kind of get back at you. So if you come at something in a positive way, then you kind of get that same energy back to you. I always kind of think of life as kind of like a mirror of whatever I'm putting out there, that's what's looking right back at me. I mean, different way of saying it, but yeah. That's what
I love that. 50 seconds. Yeah, that's it's kind of the idea of, raising vibrations, or like, however you consider walking around in the world, whatever you're putting out, hopefully you're raising that around you as well. And when you come into the same room with people who are also raising vibrations, it's just like harmonious and an amazing time. There's nothing scientific about it, but like everybody's been in the situation where you're in a room with someone who's just soul sucking and just everything they vibrate just drips sucking. And no matter how much positivity you put out there, it's like you can't compare that to being in a room with like-minded people who just want to create great waves and great energy. And I feel like, I felt like, shout out to Emily Thatcher, she's in the chat, last Friday of almost a week ago, we were all together in this historic house. It was a beautiful historic house that had a lot of positive energy in it. We were on a ghost tour, but to me it never felt spooky because I feel like we were all just just buzzing with positive energy, and every room we walked into felt like lit up when we were there.
You obviously did not see the rocking horse in the attic then.
I did, and I saw the dolls with the human hair.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I was never creeped out or felt down because I was just around so much love
Yeah.
and positive energy. And I
I
think
like
that
to think
vibrates.
that's why, like, the five of us especially just like work so well together.
Yeah.
It's like whenever we're in a room, it's just light and fun, and we're like, okay, let's do this and that, and it's you feel like you can do so much. I always say that, like, and that's the thing about, like, I always say this network, and like I said, and us especially, is that I feel like we always lift each other. Like every time, like I was bouncing. Nicole and I were like bouncing song lyrics off each other, because I was like, I just feel like I'm stuck and I need something. And I was like thinking about it, and I was like, well, who could I like talk to? And like the first one was like Nicole, like, of course, because like it's that energy, like you said. And then I swear, like, we talked on the phone a couple times, and then like all of a sudden I was like, look, I wrote the lyrics to these 3 songs. Here you go.
Yeah.
You know what you should do? You should write a song about the trials and travails of writing a song.
Yes. But yeah, I think that's what it is. It's that like lightness and the vibes. It's like just get you going. It's amazing.
Absolutely. So having taken the words right out of your mouth, Nicole, it's your turn. Ready, set, go.
Okay. Let's see. I think I kind of want to mimic what Mike said, but in a reverse way. If you are negative, then you're kind of setting yourself up for failure, because that's kind of what you're expecting. So why not be positive? Because like Chat GPT was saying in that theory, that there's more opportunities out there. It's good to be positive. It's good to surround yourself with positive people, like we were saying. Probably a big reason why I fell in love with you, Mike. And yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say.
I love that. And yeah, what you were referring to was like the broader thinking. When you're this is what the Chat GPT thing said. Broader thinking can enhance creative problem solving, because if you have a positive mindset and there's any sort of obstacle in front of you, you go, okay, well, that's fine. What else can we do? Like if you have a negative mindset, you see that little obstacle and you go, oh, I guess we'll just quit then. Like we've failed. Like that. I think that's what you're saying. And yeah, being surrounding yourself with people who cultivate that positivity and encourage that is so important. And I think that's why so many artists are attracted to other artists, and just like-minded, like vibrational people. We see that in each other, and we understand how music or the arts or whatever raises us up, and our creative. We can have our 9-to-5s, but we also have these creative fires inside of us that need to be fed and need to be ventilated from time to time. You gotta give them oxygen for them to breathe, and so that we can be seen, so our souls and our hearts can continue to be lit throughout life. No matter what obstacles or how busy life gets, we need to surround ourselves with like-minded people, for sure. Before I know Amanda has to go, here's bullet point number 2 from AI on this subject. It's creativity and mood. Research has shown that positive mood states are associated with increased creativity. For example, studies have found that people in positive moods are more likely to engage in divergent thinking, which is a key component of creative problem solving. Again, wow, it's a theme. Divergent thinking involves generating multiple positive solutions to a problem, which is crucial for creativity, creative problem solving. That's so much of what like independent arts is. Creative problem solving. Love it. Wow. That's what we did. That's how the Vodacity Network was born,
It's
by
true.
the way. This like
For
cuts
those
to
of
the
you
very
new to the network.
origin, the core of Vodacity. Creative problem solving. That's what we did. Amanda Benjamin, 185 weeks in a row you've done
my
a show here. That takes a little bit of creative problem solving in and of itself.
Yeah, with your schedule.
I know.
I say we've been on the verge of hiring somebody to do the scheduling a few times.
Yeah, I would love that. Just tell me where to be and when.
And I know your weekly show has themes, but tonight, music-wise, we didn't have a theme. What did you want to perform?
Well, it's interesting because we're talking about positively creating, and so I decided, okay, I wanted to do something I created, so do an original song, which is, only been a recent thing for me because, again, as I was saying earlier, that mindset, I've never considered myself a songwriter. I'm like, I'm not good at it. I don't hear it. I can't do it. I'm not a good writer.
No, we're
and
going,
then-
yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
yeah, and I'm like, shut up. Right. So I've always been very closed to the idea, but lately I've been trying and done some things I actually like. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and flip that narrative and say I am a budding songwriter. So I decided to do that because I thought that was a pretty good way to go. But then thinking about what David said, that sometimes you write things that are what we, negative emotions, right? But still having that positive outlook in your life to balance it out. And so I wrote this song, and I tell people, like, some songs I write literally in like 10 minutes. And I don't know how I do it or why. It's just like, oh, there it is. And then the melody didn't take much longer than that either after I wrote all the words. So it's probably like really took me an hour to get it down. Of course, learning it is it takes a lot longer than that. But and I think, again, part of that was I had been feeling stuck. And like I said, I was talking to Nicole, and this is one of them that I was like, once I did it, I sent it, and I was like, well, I just wrote this and I was feeling insecure about it. And I was like, okay. And then I think you had been busy that day, and I was like, well, I'm just going to record it and like send it over. And I was like, well, this is my first draft. What do you think? And Nicole was like, it sounds done. And I was like, oh my God. And like I said, I just attribute all of that to that, like I said, those positive vibrations. So, and the energy that we had and being open to the experience rather than just, again, saying I can't do this. So I felt like I was positively creating, although it is an incredibly sad song. I wrote it because, or say I was inspired because my, a friend that I used to sing in at the Channel Islands chorus with, her partner
Died by suicide?
Yes. So she posted pictures of her wife, and I saw them, and I'd only met her a few times, but she always struck me as this like amazingly brilliant, a beautiful woman who just like shined everywhere. Like she's talking about her work, and it was beaming, and it was, everything about her seemed a light. And so it was just such a shock to me because I didn't know where that was. She said they'd had a lot of struggles with mental health, and these pictures that she posted, I felt like I could see and hear them, just everything clearly. So this song just came falling out. Our photographs are on the table. Smiling faces holding hands. A warm summer glow that shone around us. Dancing barefoot to the band. I can see your eyes of sea of green. taste the sweetness of your lips on me now. I feel the lacing of our fingers. Oh, I hear the undertones. I miss you in my bones. Sometimes I think on all the what ifs in my mind. There is no solution I can find. And now I'm packing up your stuff. Sometimes love just ain't enough. Now I think of moving on. Learn to live my life without you. Though I try and try and try, my love, I just feel I'm not allowed to. Since the day you left my little life, I felt wounded, I felt blinded, as if the path is somehow straight from me. My inner compass is misguided. Oh, I hear the undertones. I miss you in my bones. Sometimes I think on all the what ifs in my mind. There is no solution I can find. And now I'm packing up your stuff. Sometimes love just ain't enough. And no, I'm never packing up your stuff. Sometimes love just ain't enough.
Floating shoes.
So good.
Floating anti-gravity shoes. There they are. Thank you.
Yay, shoes.
That was so beautiful.
Oh,
Oh my gosh,
thanks.
gorgeous.
Still working on it, but yeah, like,
I
really
said-
like it.
I said in the chat, Mike was actually playing in the background some little tinkering, and I was remember we were talking about
I
that?
was Mike. If you want to add something to this song,
I
Yeah.
would love to.
I would love it.
I'm always tinkering back here behind the scenes.
Yes. Tinker, tinker. I can send you the recording, and you can kind of.
So good.
Bring over
Yeah.
the slide guitar. I'll jump on the cajon. We'll,
Yes.
yeah, it'll be awesome.
That would be really cool.
And I'll
That
sit here on
was-
piano and play something in a different key.
Yeah.
But
Fantastic,
Oh, your
beautiful.
mommy said it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
It
It
was,
is beautiful. And I can't wait to see where it goes and what it becomes. Ladies and gentlemen, original work by Amanda Benjamin. Yes.
Thank you.
Work in progress. And that's another thing too about being positive is like understanding like when you're working on something, it's a work in progress. And there's all kinds of everybody's got their own levels of the walls they put up and like, oh, I'm not going to show this to you till it's perfect. And there's other people who are just like, here's my first idea. What do you think? What do you have? And it's like there's no right or wrong answer. Everybody's got just their own creative process. It's like, do you want to show somebody the very bare bones of your first idea, or do you want to wait to reveal it until? And then there's also that level of like, how offended are you if people are like, need some work? Like, are you like, okay, yeah, help me.
Help me.
Or at least tell me what you're thinking, and I will consider that and do with it what I will, which is, in my opinion, the right answer to do, as opposed to, well, you're wrong and I'm right, or, oh, you didn't like it, then I failed. Like, you gotta find, I mean, and everybody's different, and I don't know if it's something that can be taught, or if it's something that's taught by your parents, or if it's just something inside you that you're born with, the ability to take constructive criticism as an artist. Like, it's such an interesting thing.
I think it's really tough. I've never been able to take it very well.
Yeah, I also, because I've always been, I would say that until I started doing live shows, I've always been the person who's like, nope, it's not perfect, not putting it out there, never, never. And it's like you come to a point where you realize, one, that perfection is completely impossible, first of all, and two, for me at least, I'm never going to perform it then. Like, you would never ever have heard that song if that's how I felt, because it would never be good enough.
Sure.
And whatever's perfect is very subjective, right?
Yes.
Someone might love what you think is just okay. So,
Well, and I'm sitting here thinking of Beethoven's 21st piano sonata, I believe, where as the piece stands today, it takes probably 25 to 30 minutes to perform the whole thing. It's not short. Beethoven's original piece, so as it stands today, the second movement is really just kind of an extended introduction into the third movement. It's not really something that can stand on its own. It leads into the third movement, so it doesn't really have an ending to it. The original second movement of the piece was much, much, much longer. And Beethoven's friend said, dude, this is a really cool piece, but you got to cut that second movement down. This is like way too long. And he listened, and he did, and he pulled that second movement out. He just said, okay, well, this is just going to be a standalone piece all by itself, because he really, really liked it. But then he created this entirely new, much, much shorter movement in place of it to make this not a better, tighter, more concise, still a lengthy piece, but ultimately it is a much better piece for it.
oh, something I wanted to add too,
Yeah.
because Amanda, this is obviously a very sad topic, and I love sad songs. That's just like a thing
I know, me
that-
too.
That's why we started Deep Cuts.
It is, because we were all the sad song bunch.
But that's the cool thing about art, is that you can take a negative moment in your life or someone else's life and turn that into positivity, turn that art into something positive, like just a beautiful song that someone might hear, and someone that's going through a tough time that has a similar situation as what your friend went through, like they'll feel seen and heard. So I think that's another beautiful thing about art and positive creativity.
I had a hard time with this because I did it, and I felt it was, something. And I was telling David, I said, should I send it to her? I said, does it help or hurt? And I wasn't sure. I was like, I don't know, man. I got so nervous. I was going back and forth. And finally I was like, I'm just going to send it, with the forward, like I said, well,
And I was encouraging her too.
I know you were. I was more nervous about it. And so because like I said, it could help or hurt. And I didn't know which it was going to be. And so I sent her a note saying, well, I wrote this song, and I kind of told her what I told you guys. And do you want to hear it? And she's like, yes, I do. So I sent it to her, and I was so scared for like a whole day while I waited for her to listen to it. And she came back, and she had said like, oh, it's so beautiful. And she said, I can really feel like the empathy and, like you connecting with what I'm feeling and all of this. And so I was like, oh, okay. Like it did. It was like a sad song, but it had that positive impact on the one person that I was hoping it would. So it was quite a relief, but it was really good. A great thing. And so I'm glad it helped that one person.
It's an interesting thing when we take that leap, when we let ourselves go, all right, I'm going to share it with somebody. What do they think?
Mm-hmm.
And in that silence before their response, your brain is doing a crazy dance of, have they read it yet? They read it and they hated it. They don't know how to tell me they hated it.
Yep.
Maybe they loved it. Maybe they just haven't read it yet. And like, based on what you get back, it can either crush your spirit or encourage you to move forward. And this is why it is so important for independent creators, people who aren't making a cent off of the things that they're just sitting down and making because their heart is calling them to do it, to be able to surround yourself by the right people, but also understand that the people that you're putting your trust in their hands, you're doing that for a reason, because you trust them.
Exactly. Because, well, we actually, Mike and I were last night practicing songs for a wedding that we'll be singing at actually in November.
How cool.
Yeah, we're so excited. And we were singing with the pianist that I sing at church with, and she's really has a great ear, and she's really good at arrangements and everything. And she's also really good at constructive criticism. Like, she will tell you if you're singing a note wrong or the harmony. No, like, even if you are singing a harmony, like, no, we can do a better one than that. And she'll give us different ideas. And at first, when I first started singing with her 11 years ago, it kind of hurt in the beginning because I didn't really know her that well. But now she's such a dear friend, and I love when she tells me how it is, and her opinion, like, I value so much. So I'm like, okay, maybe not, I don't like agree with her 100% of the time, but yeah, I always have that mindset that you were saying earlier, like, take it in and see, just try it out, see if her recommendation will work or not. So I think, yeah, that's really, it's good to have friends and people like that you trust and value their opinions of.
And it all starts with having the courage to show it to people. Mm-hmm. Can't stress that enough. Try new things, push your comfort bubble, take that first step.
And what can be equally hard to get over too is, years and years ago, I would try and show piano pieces I was working on to friends, to people I knew who were pianists, professionals oftentimes, and nobody ever looked at them or gave me any feedback or anything. And that's really, really tough too. It's like, what do you do? Not getting
Especially
any feedback.
when you
feel
reach
like
out to
nobody cares, and you feel like, well, what the heck is the point? Nobody's going to even bother looking at this. And I eventually realized, what? Screw that. I've got this in me. It wants to come out. I'm going to put it on paper, and we'll see where it goes.
Because you're the point.
Yes.
Not
it's all about
else.
me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not
It's
forget
your
that.
expression. Not.
Yeah. No, that's very true.
And I think, like, ultimately, I don't know, for me, when I'm writing a song, the reason I'm doing any of this is because deep down it makes me happy. I like singing. I like making melodies. It makes me happy, and that's a positive thing.
Yeah. And that's something that took me a long time to learn, was how to get out of this mindset that I need to be validated by others.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm in a mindset where it's like, you know what? This is good. I like this. I did a good job on this. And if nobody else agrees with me, well, oh well. But if I like how it turned out, then I'm good.
So sorry for the abrupt ending of this episode, but we're enjoying the conversation and the music so much we had to split it into 2 episodes. So bad news is this episode's over. Good news is it is to be continued. Tune in for the next COVEpod for the rest of the convo and the rest of the music. I want to give a special shout out to our newest Cove curator on Patreon, my mom, Sandra Carganilla, bumped up her Patreon membership to the top tier. Thank you so much. I get to say thank you here in the credits to all of our curators, Angelica Bolschweiler, Anna Gia Navola, Charity Swanson, Emily Thatcher, Gina Dobbs, Kelsey Blaine Gibson, Krista King, Meryl Milkey, Sandra Carganilla, Susan Kuhn, and Wendy Walker. Thank you all so much for keeping this show going and growing. Hope to see you all next time.
I put the code on her.